Hello, everyone. This is Adam Tubero with psychedelicinvest.com. I hope you guys are all having a phenomenal day. In today's episode, it's going to be the part two of the Scott Freeman interview. We get into some more of the juicier details in the second part. So it's going to be a very, very good one. I hope you guys are as excited to get into this as I am. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, Scott, thank you so much for taking this time to address everything. All right, so my next question is, can you elaborate on the relationship with Orbiter and in terms of some things that have been being talked about in the communities, like stealing IP and stuff like that? I just want you to be able to dispel that right now if you need to, so please feel free.
Oh, thank you. So when we started Savant, we started with myself, Steve Hurst, and Bill Bollinger. And Bill Bollinger and Steve knew each other. And when we started, Steve suggested that we needed a chemist to be with us for two reasons. One is we wanted somebody who knew how to make a drug, because at that point we didn't have 18MC. So we were just now looking for the drug we wanted to license and start Savant with. So he said, one, it's good to have a chemist because chemists, whatever drug we get, can make it. And the other thing is that since he has a chemical company, a lot of things cross into the company. And 18MC was one of those things. He was making 18MC for Dr. Glick at Albany because it's a difficult synthesis. So he was making it for his animal studies. And so Bill said, oh, we should put this on the list. We had a list, let's say, of 5 or 10 drugs that we're going to look at. We should put 18MC on the list because it might be good to do, he's doing it in animals. It might be good to do it in the clinic. So that's how he was one of the founders of Savant. And his company was making 18MC. I think they may have some patents on 18MC synthesis, but My Medicine, I don't believe have licensed those. So it's unclear whether they're needed or not. But there's nothing underhanded or going on between Obiter and Mind Medicine. There's no agenda here for me coming back with Obiter Mind Medicine. It's a minor issue in terms of who makes 18MC. And they haven't made it for several years. So, and as a founder, he has shares in Mind Medicine. Actually, he's also one of the larger shareholders. So I think there's some conspiracy theories out there, but Obiter has only been helpful when they've been asked to help out, and also to squash any conspiracy theory. Mind Medicine has stopped developing 18MC, so there's really nothing for them to get out of Mind Medicine with 18MC. And me coming back to start 18MC is not so they can get anything either. So my primary goal of coming back for 18MC is because I think it's a really good drug. I think, as you know, as we discussed, it's going to help people and it's going to help investors. And Obiter has nothing to do with this, although Bill Bollinger is part of the 5.6% group that we want to come back with, but he wants his shares to be valuable and he wants a plan in place for the company to succeed.
Yeah, and I think that's like the overarching thing here, and my reasoning for bringing you on the show as well. I think it's really important that investors understand that you want the stock price to, you want value, you want the stock price to go up, you want the value in what you own, and I think that's what all these retail investors want as well. You guys have the same goals here.
Exactly. And I think, and part of the reason I came back was that, I said, I own a significant amount of Mind Medicine. And of course, I'd like to see it do well, but I've owned it for several years now. I've sold very, very little of it. And partly because, the stock has plummeted. And as you know, 80% of Mind Medicine is retail investors. And I call them the little guy. And so part of my reason to come back is to give them a voice too. Now, I want to work with management. I want to work with them and try to improve Mind Medicine. It's not here to be adversarial. I think I can bring a lot to the table and help refocus where they are. As I explained to you, I have 50 years of drug development experience. both from research and academics through industry. I've brought drugs to market. So I think there's a lot I can offer. I want to work with them, but I also want to represent the shareholders, the little guy. I've sort of been an underdog my whole life. So I sympathize with the little guy who doesn't really have the voice. And I want to be the voice for them too. They've taken a lot of their hard-earned money and supported Mind Medicine. I actually really appreciate that they were there in the beginning. It's mostly retail investors. And we owe something to them. We owe something to the patients. We owe something to the people who have supported us and have supported Mind Medicine. And I see both of them not getting as much support as they should be getting. Both the patients, drugs should be getting, I want to see drugs get to the market quicker to help the patients. And I want to see drugs get to the market quicker to help the shareholders and help the people who have put money in. And some of them also have held MindMed stock for years. And they shouldn't see their investments plummet. They should see their investments grow.
I absolutely agree with you. And this is perfect lead up to my next question is, so basically during this time, why now? So I think a lot of investors are asking, why now? Why did you guys come out and get public about this? Why now? Have you guys been planning this for a while? What's going on? Why now? And if you can just kind of give us some information regarding that.
So obviously, I left Mind Medicine, and obviously, I have a different view on drug and on some aspects of drug development than they have. However, management took a path and took a position, and I couldn't say come in sooner and say you're wrong, right? Without letting it to develop to a point where I think it's now clear to everybody that 18-MC, you need a 30-day dose, right? I mean, I think somebody who doesn't understand anything about the science, to treat opioid addiction, you're going to need to treat the patient for at least 30 days. And the phase 1 only has a 7-day dose, which can treat opioid withdrawal symptoms. So it's clear. It's not only, maybe it was clear to me a year ago, but if I came on your show a year ago and said this, everybody would say, well, wait, give them a chance. Maybe they know something you don't. So as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little more patient, and rather than jumping in a year ago, even though I was pretty convinced that we would be in this position a year later, I needed to wait. Same thing with LSD. They started, they were starting a trial. Now, when they first announced the trial in May 2021, they were saying they were going to complete it in 2 years. So that would be by May 2023. Well, the first patient is just getting enrolled now, 15 months later. So again, I needed to give them the space to do what they thought was the right thing to do, even though, I knew it wasn't. So now is, I think, the right time. Mind Medicine can still change course. There's money in the bank. I think they have about 120 million. So there's money in the bank. The drugs aren't totally, dead. Somebody can step in and revive this. A phase 3 trial can be basically have to go to the FDA and discuss it, but that can take 6 months to basically get the FDA on board with the phase 3 trial and change this phase 2B, which is just basically enrolling its first patient supposedly in the next month. So it's a good time before things really, I think, go too far down. So it's a good inflection point. It's not quite. I would have rather have done this a year ago, but I don't think the shareholders would have supported a year ago. They would have said, "Hey, step back. These guys, let these guys. They know. Their management. They should know what they're doing, right?" And so, again, I want to work with management. But I think, the course needs to be corrected, and we need to get to a place where we unlock the value in Mind Medicine. There's a lot more value in this company, I think, than is reflected at this point, if you look at stock price or however you want to look at the company. So that's why I came back now. I think it was just the right timing, and just before this phase 2B gets too far along and ATMC gets too far shelved, where you can come in and there's still a fair bit of money in the bank where you can come in. And I think it's a minor, it's a minor correction at this point. If you wait another year, things are going to be too far along, I think, in both of those to really easily correct the costs.
I definitely I agree with what you're saying, and it's very valid. It makes sense. So this leads me to my next question. So within the community, in the MindMed community, there's been a lot of talks, and like the fear is, we're scared that this is just going to be some type of pump and dump where they're basically like they want to appreciate the stock price so they can make a clean exit, because right now the price is not significant in any way. So that's what a lot of the chatter is within the community. So I guess I would like you to clarify that, or like to talk on that if you can.
Let me just say that I'm not in this to sell my stock, number one. And I, as a founder, most of my shares have been locked up for several years. So when you start a company, the investors always get the first exit, and as rightfully so. I mean, doing biotech and starting companies, that's the game, and that's the way it is, and I accept that. And investors are putting their hard-earned money into it, and it's shareholders, like I said, the retail investors. I don't intend, or I'm not going to sell my stock. I mean, I'm looking for this stock to really appreciate. I think LSD approved in 4 years will make this a very, will really unlock the value of the stock. If investors want, I'm happy to put in writing a date or lock it up some more. I'm not here to come back and sell. I'm here to unlock the value, both for myself, obviously, and investors. I think there's a lot of value in mind medicine. I want to realize it, just like the shareholders, and I'm happy to get into another lockup agreement if that's what it takes. I've never done anything actually in my life for money. I mean, I do what I enjoy doing. As a physician, I do it to help people. Fortunately, I do it well. I mean, you do something well, I've made a decent living. I mean, I can't say I haven't, but I don't do it for the money. And I'm happy to put whatever you come back with your investors, what they want to do, or I'm happy to lock up again. My view is that I think LSD is a great drug. I think ATMC can be a great drug. And I want to see them be a great drug. I want them on the market as quick as possible. And I think both, certainly LSD, I think get on the market in 4 years. And I think like we said, if it's on the market in 4 years, it's going to help a lot of patients. And if it helps a lot of patients, it's going to help a lot of investors. And I want to have my stock when it gets to the market in 4 years. So given the opportunity, why do I want to sell? But I'm happy to, like I said, I can come back on your show, have your come up with a legal contract with your group if you want. But I'm happy to. I'm locked up. I mean, I don't plan on selling. I think just like your investors who have been with this stock, some of them since its inception for years, understand that LSD is a great drug, and LSD on the market will unlock a lot of value in this company, and that's why I'm back.
Thank you for clarifying that. I think a lot of investors, it would put their minds at ease to hear that. So the last two things. So we're getting towards the end of the conversation. So when I was reading some of the stuff on Reddit in terms of when Jake was going back and forth, he had mentioned that you guys had reached out to MindMed in the past, but they didn't want they never tried to make contact with you, or they brushed you guys off in some capacity. Has that vibe changed over time now, or is there an open line of communication between you and MindMed? If you can talk about that at all, what's your relationship with them now?
I've reached out to them in the past, and I also reached out because I wanted to talk to the board, and I was referred to the general counsel. Now, I've written to Jeff Bezos at Amazon, right? One of the richest men in the world. And he's answered me. Yet I don't have the email address of the board members, and I wasn't given it as the major shareholder. And I can say we've also have reached out to them recently, and they haven't responded. So at this point, there's no dialogue. Not by, like I said, we want to work with them, but they haven't responded in the past, and they haven't yet responded recently. So, again, I can't force them to respond to me. I can't force them to give me the email addresses, but I can tell you I don't have the email addresses of the board, and I wasn't. And when I asked for it, I was told to talk to the legal general counsel. So, but I actually have Jeff Bezos' email address, and he's responded to me. So, and I own. Actually, I don't own any shares of Amazon. Yet I can talk to the former. He's no longer the CEO, but when he was CEO, I can talk to the CEO of Amazon. Yet I can't talk to the CEO or the chairman of the board of Mind Medicine.
Understood. Understood. Okay, so then this brings me to the last part of this segment of this chat, which is I want you to be able to speak your mind and address the investor. You've covered a lot here, and I think you've given a lot to the MindMed investors in terms of clarifying everything and the intentions and whatnot. But if you want to say anything to address the other investors who are watching this channel, please feel free.
Thank you. And I think we've covered it all, but just to summarize, I'm not here for a quick buck. I founded, and like I said, I've been working on this, if you go back to Savant, since 2009. I'm a physician scientist. I've done, I want to help people. And I do own, obviously a fair bit of MindMed stock. And I want to work with management. I want to unlock the value. I think unlocking the value is focus on your core assets, and those core assets are ATMC, LSD, and potentially one or two probably other psychedelics in development. Focus on your core assets, and understand clinical development to a point where you can move things along quickly. Just because Compass did a phase 2B doesn't mean Mind Medicine has to do a phase 2B, because there's a different data set. When Compass did their phase 2B on psilocybin, they needed to do it because they didn't have Professor Lecter and his data. The reason why we went to Basel was to get Professor Lecter because we knew he had a lot of untapped data, which would help us to move the drug along in development. So again, I'm here to help patients and help the shareholders, and I'm in it for the long term. I've been in it for the long term, and we remain in the long term. There's no conspiracy going on. There's no alternative agendas going on. MindMed being successful helps everybody, helps the patients, helps myself, helps your shareholders, and I'm here to make MindMed successful.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And I really appreciated having this conversation with you, mostly just hearing from you and understanding the perspectives behind everything that's been going on. I think it was very important for people to hear this. So I just want to say,
I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your audience taking the time to listen, because like I said, I think this is obviously very important topic to me, and very important for patients and the retail shareholders.
understood. Understood. Okay, cool. So that's going to be it for today. And thank you so much. All right, everyone. That was the conversation interview that I had with Scott Freeman. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a good time speaking to Scott Freeman, and just in general, I enjoy creating content for the psychedelic community. Me and Scott are going to be having a couple more conversations moving forward, so I will keep everyone updated on that. Let me know your thoughts on this interview conversation, and yeah, if you guys can please like and subscribe, I would appreciate that very much. Thank you.